And hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Time When. Effectively, what we're going to be doing today is a little bit of a project which I like to call Learning to Fly. What we're going to be doing is flying a ship with a single thruster and making sure that people can understand how the physics in space engineering works, and the fact that just because you don't have thrusters in all directions doesn't mean you can't fly the ship in the direction you want. It takes a little bit of adjustment, but this is critical. For example, after a combat situation, if you have the ability to move the ship a little bit, even if you have one thruster, you can actually make it. So what we're going to be doing is start our usual offline server. So I'm going to create a new game, which is a custom game with a star system. And we're going to call it Learn to Fly.
Maybe Learn to Fly Miasma style.
Miasma is a series of servers that Grevinelveck has developed, and I have worked on extensively, which are what is considered hardcore. Hardcore means that we don't get jetpacks, we have to have food, grind to scrap is involved, and no dampeners. And you go, why no dampeners? Well, because no jetpack, no dampeners, it's kind of like real life, right? So what we're going to do is just set up a vanilla server with a couple of exceptions. The first one is I'm going to enable the in-game scripts. The second one is I'm going to disable the jetpack. Disabling the jetpack means that if I'm about to lose the ship, I go down with it, because if I decide to leave the ship at whatever altitude, I'm probably going to die. So without further ado, we're going to learn to fly. So here we go.
I still remember how hard I laughed the first one thruster chair you built when we were playing the first Miasma.
Oh god, landing that thing was impossible.
Oh, I know.
So we're going to take an Earth-like approach. Hopefully the game will unpause itself, as it should.
Always good to do the Earthlight, because that's like your base
Yeah.
playing level.
So here we are, learning to fly. Now, technically speaking, I could use this ship as well, but it's better if we just make one from scratch. So, parachute. Oh, thank God.
And the good thing about this ship is we don't even have to really mine for resources. 90% of what we need, we can just pull right off of this thing.
True. As a matter of fact, we could even detach the current battery off of it and use that. But I think we'll probably craft something that will allow us to work. So
yeah, because we get the stone, you can get the nickel, the silicone, everything you need to make batteries. So it's not really.
If anybody's wondering, I am pressing the X key right now, and the jetpack is doing absolutely nothing. So there we go. That's part one. All right. So what we need. Oh, progression is enabled. This is going to be interesting. Because progression is enabled, we're going to have to do a couple of things. We're going to grind away parts of the ship.
Don't forget just to go ahead and grind down a landing gear and just weld it immediately. That's like the first step.
Yeah, that's true. There we go. Boom. Immediately we've unlocked new blocks. And because I have this block, what I can do is go, oh, that's where the gravity alignment is. All right, so we need a basic refinery. So we're going to use this guy. Put basic refinery here. It's not the best of places. Let's flip it around to the other side. So basic refinery. There we go. And oh, I didn't really want to do that too much, but
so much easier to burn through progression when grind to scrap is not on, isn't it?
Absolutely. Progression is makes life, well, untenable really at some stages. Okay, so this is our wonderful refinery, and because I don't have jetpacks, I can't fly to put. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Okay, so I'm going to have to make ramps. And you're going to say, Maz, why are you making ramps? Well, I need to make the ramps because if I don't make the ramps, I can't crawl up to where I need to go to be able to produce the power. I need power. I don't have any power right now. So in order to make power, I'm going to have to put. Well, I need to do a lot. So
yeah, it almost seems like we should have called this "Getting Started Without Jetpacks." Rather, yeah, I think this should have been more of a "Getting Started Without Jetpacks." probably would have been a better name.
Absolutely. But what we're going to do is we're going to keep this in the in our 1 hour streams. I should be able to do this hopefully well before the 1 hour mark. Because the 1 hour challenge is to space, right? So I'm not planning to go to space. But we need to get the progression, because without the progression we can't do anything really. So alright, let's dump all this stone in here. Production, we'll say Control and Shift with left click makes 1,000 of those. So I'm going to just let it do its thing. Carry on. Now, this top layer is absolutely atrocious because every single block is like
Not to mention, if we're using the food mod, all of that's actually organic until you get down to the layer you just now hit.
Yeah, and not even there yet. Still organic.
Luckily, we don't have to deal with that this time.
How many times have we actually been on an asteroid without jetpacks and mining underneath our own feet just to realize that we're now free floating and we can't go anywhere?
Oh yeah, and then one of us grabs a ship and just kind of pushes us back down to the ground.
or grabs us by the, the boots.
Yeah, or flies a ship with a grav plate on it. Because
Yeah.
we normally have the grav plates on the Miasma servers. The only reason for that, though, is that we have a small ship option for gravity.
The grab plate's a big ship too, though.
Yeah, those are the grav catwalks, which are really nice.
The one thing about the servers in Miasma, you never really lose the first ship. It's always a bit of it still hanging around because you don't want to lose the components.
Or you repurpose it. We've done a lot of repurposing it. You know, adding a drill to it to get us started, or this, that, and another.
Yeah. Fun times, fun times.
Or heck, just like putting some heavy blocks on the front and ramming it into a pirate ship to try to get it away from the base before it blows us up.
Alright, so let's see what we really need right now. Well, we will need a lot of steel plates, so we're going to ask for 1,000 steel plates. We're not going to get 1,000 steel plates because of the amount of rock that we currently have. It's just not going to happen. But we're going to make a good try. The reason I say 1,000 is just ramp to be able to go up.
Inventory full.
Thank you, lady. To be able to go up the levels that we need in order to... You know what? This tree is really annoying. Thank you, sir. Goodbye. Get those rocks in there.
That's one thing that's always annoyed me about space engineers, is there was no purpose for the trees.
Oh, there's plenty of purpose. Oh, I see that you're trying to move. Well...
Yeah, especially back in the day when large ships would get decimated by just one.
Yeah. At least they put enough effort to be able to stop that.
Yeah, but the weird thing is they didn't bother small ships. They only messed up the large grids, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, wrong one. Grind to Scrap would have said, nope, you can't have that anymore. You've lost it.
Well, not the version we normally use, because we normally use the one made by Onyx, which we are allowed to, we can customize what it gets ground down. Which, what do we usually say? Isn't it like basically everything that can be made in the survival kit plus a couple of things?
Yeah, the meta kit. I think that's good enough for altitude for our... There we go. So our ramp is started. Now I should be able to go and tell this wonderful piece of work that we need power. So I'm going to change production. And the way I do it is very simple. In the big assembler, the standard assembler, you can actually go into the menu of the assembler, go to the production, and here they'll say, you know, large blocks, small blocks, and you can actually type the block that you want. Fortunately, we don't get that option here. It makes it really annoying. So what I want is I want a wind turbine, which is right there. It's also in position 7. So I'm going to middle click this and add it to the build planner. Adding it to the build planner allows me to then push this button here, left down, and it goes adding components, and it'll start building the components that we require for the wind turbine. Now, unfortunately, we don't have enough rock to be able to do that yet. Build planner is a lifesaver.
It makes building things so much quicker. I mean, it was such a time saver when it was added.
It did start off as a mod, if I remember right.
It did. Icy's inventory manager? No, it wasn't.
No,
Icy.
it was easy.
It was just an easy inventory manager.
Easy inventory. And but I think that unlike most of the mods that Keen has absorbed into itself over the years, I do believe that this version of it is actually better implemented than the original.
I think I actually agree with that.
Some people will disagree for sure, but
oh yeah, totally.
Okay, now can I do this without? Oh, cookie sticks. Fair enough. I can't place the block because I can't get above it and far enough from it to be able to do that. So what I need to do is grab some more of these steel plates, position myself a little bit further out, and I'm going to take these guys as well. No, they're out of stone already. Great.
Yep, the endless starting battle, right?
Position that one. There. Oh! Oops. Alright.
You got this.
I'm going to get this, absolutely, but man, it's the usual. There we go. Remember, I'm running without a jetpack, so it makes life a little bit more complicated than probably it should be. There. Okay, so now I'm far enough that I should be able to place the windmill. There it goes. Now, I don't need this guy, and I don't need that guy. And do I need that guy down there? So, what I really do need is to put these blocks back into the assembler and get some more stone. Now, I always have to admit, I find the starts of these games much more pleasant than the action. It is a sandbox, so technically it doesn't have an end game,
But yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's like the challenge of getting started is almost more fun than once you're established.
correct. Oh, my helmet's still open. There, closed. There we go. So open that up. When running and you got your helmet closed, all you can hear is your character grunting and moaning and complaining, and breathing really hard. And it's just like really, I mean, you got something better to do, man. You know.
Is it still implemented in daily needs where if you like overexert yourself,
You die?
your suit will open?
I remember that if you overexert yourself, you help.
Yeah, I seem to remember like if you got too winded or fatigued, your character would like quote unquote panic and open his helmet at one point in the mod's history.
Oh God, well, thank goodness I don't panic often.
it could also be the point where we're so used to using daily needs that we don't ever really hit that point.
Well, there is a certain passion of the game that allows us to be able to progress in ways that a lot of people wouldn't actually consider. But
you remember the first tunnel we were building in the asteroid, and I had the rover, the drilling rover, that I would just
magnetic.
Release its gravity, let it drift up in the air a little bit, flip it over, and turn gravity back on.
Oh god, that was an amazing feat. Let's be honest. Oh, I don't need those. I don't need those things. Right. Production is fine. Now, I stopped the production of the interior plate. The reason I did that is because I don't want to waste any resources for something that I only need a little bit of power for. So, as you can see, this turbine will work, although the interior plates for the armor part aren't complete. So, interior plate 0 out of 30. The thing still works. Happy days.
Now we got to get the assembler and the basic refinery up to open up the rest of the progression.
All right, so I'm going to put those guys into the build planner, though. And I'm going to go build planner, build, and it's going to go, okay, fine. And I shall progress with drilling some more rock. Now, this is really
Yeah, I feel like that's a bad idea in a suit, to be fair.
Well, the suit's pretty resilient, but I think my head has.
Yeah, but I mean, in an actual spacesuit, slamming your face against the rocks is a bad idea.
Well, it's kind of like a motorcycle helmet. You're not supposed to let it hit the ground at
exactly.
any impact, because it's designed to protect your head, not, Let's grab those guys and see how we're doing here. Not doing too bad. Now, one of the things is that unless we're doing space flight, I don't edit the videos. This is exactly how they are. So any mistakes that I make are all going to be here. It's all one continuous shot. There will be no. Technically, I don't think there's going to be any post-editing unless something is really wrong.
Yeah, just imagine if we did a blooper reel on our miasma stuff.
Oh god, a blooper reel on miasma would be a lot of deaths.
A lot of deaths.
Oh god, so many deaths.
The first version, what was it? Was it the proto flies that were getting us all the time?
The first version also had, what was it? Oh god, that was a while back. The first version, we had the nuclear reactors, remember?
Oh yeah, and they would overheat and stuff.
We had to get them cooled, and they had radiation damage, and
not to mention we had the thermal mechanics in too. Oh, it is not perfect, but it is definitely adds that edge to the game of I have to build this right, or I'm going to lose everything.
And I got to make some kind of management for it as well. Because that was the big thing about the mod, is that although you could build a beautiful ship, absolutely fantastic, and you could cool it, you could also overcool it. And if you froze it, your gyroscopes would turn off, so you couldn't be able to move it around. Your batteries would start breaking because they would the gel packs that contain the electricity would start cracking. Little things like that. But you had to overcool it because you had a nuclear reactor. the amount of
so you literally had all your systems that could cause heat on your hot bar, and you're sitting there and you're turning this off and turning that on and turning this off, and just trying to keep it within a safe parameter while you're flying it. And then when you weren't flying it, you kind of wanted to keep it in an airtight room, because that prevented any of the glitches that occurred with the mod from happening.
Yeah, but thankfully we've got our own resident programmer who programs most of our programmable blocks, and he actually created a program which would check the temperature, because the mod had an API that allowed us to be able to read the temperatures from within the game. That allowed it.
I was unaware of that.
Oh, it was on the last miasma. And what happened was that if the ship got too hot, would shut off all the power generation except for like one. And then when it cools down enough, it would start turning that thing back on. But it didn't just shut down power generation, shut down all the things that could generate heat, thrusters included, refineries.
So it was more of a thing to do when you were storing the ship, rather than when you were actively piloting it.
Well, when you're actively piloting it and you're running away from Reavers and all the other guys that are trying to kill you, then yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah. Reavers is fun. Reavers and corruption.
Yeah, and then even the another thing that we added was the LWTS, the Lord
Wielders.
Waders tiered systems. And what that added was another layer of gameplay, which meant that you have a thruster to level 1. But you could have a level 2, a level 3, level 4, depending on the resources that you were able to collect.
In the original version, you actually could only make the motors for the tier 1 assembler, the tier 2 assembler, and I think the tier 3 assembler. But after that, the only way of getting the motors for the higher tiered assemblers, which was required to make the higher tier parts, was by pirates.
Now, have you noticed that there's a beacon?
I have.
Alright, I think that's going to be our destination for a single seat.
Sounds like a plan.
Thruster, single seat.
Inventory full.
It's got to have a lot of singles on there.
Definitely not single battery, though.
No, single battery. It'll be a single battery. It's not
Oh, yeah, you're going to use a large battery on it. That's right.
I'm going to use a large battery. There we go. Thrusters and computers? Not motor thrusters, but motors and still more computers to go. 64, and then we'll have our basic assembly run, which is fantastic. We only need it for a little bit. Enough for me to be able to produce power, as in batteries, and then hopefully I'll be able to make thrusters as well.
And then, you know, also the unlocking of progression as well as the refinery, so you can actually build all the things you need to build.
Probably just merge that one together and put those guys over there. Okay, get some more stuff. So last week's video, Grev,
Faction grab. Oh, where you grab a faction ship without losing rep?
Correct.
Now, were you using the, which method were you using?
Inventory
Merge
full.
blocks and cameras.
Gotcha.
So the importance of that one was that if you had a ship and you connected it to another ship with a merge block, that became one ship. It didn't matter that there was a merge block. There weren't two entities anymore, it becomes one entity. And the ownership of the entities, this is the important bit, the ownership of the entities determines who actually owns the ship. So if I have, say, a 20 block ship, these are the blocks that contain computers. That means that I own 20 blocks of that ship. That ship belongs to me because I'm the only owner. If I merge it to a ship that has 25 blocks, and they belong to somebody else, my entire ship, even though I've got 20 blocks, will belong to them. So that means the moment I touch something on that ship, I will lose faction points. I could grind something away. So in order to fix that, we add more blocks that have computers. And the cheapest one that I could think of, spur of a moment thing, four cameras require 3 computers and 3 steel plates.
Okay.
So adding 10 cameras was a relatively easy thing to do, and that allowed me to have an extra 10 blocks that belonged to me. So instead of being 25 to 20, it was 30 to 25 for me.
Nice.
Which meant that I was able to then gain even more blocks, and the way I did that was by grinding away their block without losing faction, welding it back up, so I stole the
Energy
ownership of it.
low.
So those were the different tricks of that. There you go. Basic assembler is finished. Alright, so I'm going to take those 20 steel plates away. I don't want to lose the parts that I need for that. Oh, you get a spare computer somehow. Okay. I need some energy now to 21. Yeah. So can't fly, must build. That's pretty much our daily need. Oh, there's a 3.23 in 7 minutes, an unknown signal. Now, that would be an advantageous thing to grab if I had a jetpack. I don't, so. Now, a lot of people ask me, well, why in the world would you fly with one thruster only? Or a set of thrusters in direct flight?
Resources.
Well, resources is number one.
And power consumption.
Number two. Grab some more rock. There we go. So, the way I discovered early on, by myself, that, and other people discovered this as well, that if you fly to space and you thrust all the way, what you're actually doing is burning fuel that you don't need to burn. You're going to say, what do you mean? It's very simple. This is a game. Duh. And as a game, what happens is that you have a speed limit. The speed limit is roughly 100 meters per second. So the thruster, though, provides acceleration. It fights against gravity, of course, but it still provides acceleration. So let's say that you are accelerating away from the Earth at 16 kilonewtons of power, right? As you leave the Earth, the pull of Earth starts to decrease. But you're already arrived at 100 meters per second. You're still burning the same amount of fuel. It produces 16 kilonewtons of thrust. But you can't go any faster, will not go any faster. So effectively what has happened is you arrive to the maximum speed that this thing will go at, and you're still throwing fuel to be able to go faster, but you can't. So you've hit
Kind of a bottleneck in a way.
It's a speed wall. All right.
Yeah.
So what's the logical thing to do? Well, stop thrusting, right? But then you start slowing down again. True. So you can either float into the space bar, or whatever below the 100 per second. Or what I like to do is enable thruster overrides. So it means the thruster will produce as much as it possibly can, but it won't lose the fuel, the extra fuel.
Yeah, basically what it allows you to do is get it so your ship is just moving just enough where you're headed up. And then as it becomes easier and easier to move, the gravity goes down, you can reduce that thrust down.
And use even less fuel.
And use even less fuel.
I actually was on a server earlier this week that a friend of mine had invited me to and said, let's play. I said, all right, but I know all the tricks, so you're not going to have fun. He did have fun, though. And what happened was, quite simply, I said, go into space. I built him a ship. I built him a drill ship, which is absolutely fantastic. It flies everywhere. It holds a lot of... It's brilliant, and it's very cheap to make. And there's not a single armor block on it. It's just components, just parts, and it works perfect. And I gave it to him with a large thruster array. We run out of iron. Yes, we have. Let's get some more rock. Large thruster array and a full tank of hydrogen. And he was like, okay. So I said, go into space. And he thrusted all the way. I said, what are you doing? You're thrusting all the way. Yes. He made it into space. Half the tank. Now, you'll go, what's wrong with that? You just get some more fuel in space. Well, you can. It's not very fast because you got to get the ice and put it into the oxygen generator, which then turns it into hydrogen and oxygen.
And uses power.
And uses power. Well, we had loads of power. That was the problem. It was just a waste of time, really. I took the ship out, and I went into space, and it took me 11% of the tank for the same distance.
Yep.
So, and you want to be able to conserve fuel because some servers will be fuel dependent. Like, what if you have a server with no asteroids? That means no uranium, right? So what do you do then? Well, solar panels, right? They're not great. So what's the other alternative? Hydrogen engines. Okay, great. You guys now have hydrogen engines. That's fantastic. So there's your fuel. So either fly or power your ship. It doesn't seem like it's going to be both if you
Inventory
just
full.
manage your fuel consumption. Get some more of this. Come on, I just need to unlock a couple more things, and then we're going to be absolutely a-okay fine. That's
Yep.
right in there. 2 more steel plates. I can grab those just by doing that. Okay, we have unlocked the refinery. Great.
Yeah.
So
And one of the great things about that as well is the refinery actually gets better return on your stone for the ores it produces. So you get a little bit more back by using that refinery than you do the survival kit.
Yeah. Now, we need to be able to make a battery. Oh, so the battery was unlocked when we did the basic assembly. So we got that. We need to be able to make a gyroscope. Now, where is the gyroscope? So the gyroscope is... We don't need a reactor. That's good. So we need to make the remote control. Now, you guys are going to say, why do I want a remote control? Because the remote control, for a small ship, is the cheapest piece of junk that you guys can think of making. So all I do is go, please give me a remote control. I take the parts that I need. Construction component and a motor. I need more parts. What is actually going to try to build? Those. Construction component and motor. So I'm going to take this remote control and slap it right there, just because I want to unlock the parts that I need.
It's always better to build the small variant instead of the large variant when you're just trying to unlock things. Even if you just tear it back apart.
Yeah. If you can make a small variant, then there's only a large variant.
Like the assembler in the refinery, which is why we make it larger.
Inventory full.
Full. Okay. So, chuck those guys in there. Actually, you know what? We got you. Let's use you.
Heck of a lot faster, too.
That's right. And it'll actually do all the component parts, as it won't leave like a some scraps of stone behind. It'll do absolutely everything as much as it can. Thank you.
Why don't you put them back in that assembler? It's a little quicker as well.
True.
Just move it all over to the assembler.
I could. I'm just gonna make this part here. I'm gonna have to use the assembler anyway because the gyroscope. Alright, so there's the remote control.
It is so nice being able to grind things back down, isn't it?
Oh. Alright, let's see what it takes for a thruster. Are we unlocked on thrusters already? Yes, we are. We have an atmospheric thruster. We can actually build our ship. Alright, so I'm going to take this thruster. I'm going to put him back up. Good. Nothing's coming over there. Take this light and put it back. Unlock something else. Fine. Alright, now what have we got here? This is our seat. Oh, I should have probably stayed in there. Give me 2 seconds. Let's take the gun and the pad out. I don't care about that too much. So we'll definitely need the seat and the landing. We'll take both. Okay, first the landing gear.
Also, we could go ahead and build this as if we were building on your standard server, so grabbing that beacon would be a good thing as well.
Why do I need a beacon now?
A
Well,
lot of servers, your ship will get deleted unless you have a beacon.
true. There is that.
You don't even have to build it, you just have to have the block there.
for this server though, it's not necessary.
True,
So
but it is a good thing to point out.
absolutely. So we're going to grind it down and unlock the blocks. So we're happy with that. So here's our battery. I could use this battery because you see it's already attached to the landing gear. So let's see if I can do it without damaging
Suggestion for that though, if you're going to pull the battery off the old ship, go ahead and move your survival kit.
it. Oh, that survival kit's gonna go, yeah.
Because if you die when your battery's been popped off, you know, let's start over.
You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave the battery as it is. So I'm going to take a flat surface. Why am I taking a flat surface? Because I only have one thruster, which means that if I take off at a bad angle, I'm not going to fly very well. So landing gear goes down. Perfect. Now we're going to take a battery. We need a battery, right? Take these guys out of the way. Don't need you. So I'm going to take this battery. Big old thing, isn't it? Right. Now I'm going to take a passenger seat. Slap that on. Now this is where it becomes a little bit tricky. Which one is it? That guy. Because I need to be able to place we said the remote control, right?
Correct, because you're using the passenger seat.
So I'm going to put the remote control. Now, look at how the remote control is facing. You see that little diode at the front, the white thing? And it's got that spinny bit, right? So that's the front. And that's important to point out because without it, well, we're not going very far or very well. There's our gyroscope. He's our main dude. He's going to be helping us out as much as possible. Now, the coup de grace. Atmospheric thruster. Doesn't have to be a large one. It has to be a good one. So that's part one. Should probably finish that landing gear. Landing gear is not crucial at this stage.
No, we've built many of these without any kind of landing gear on them, just because.
Because we didn't have the resources.
Or with a rotor. We've done it with rotors.
Rotors are great.
Because then you can recharge on a very small surface, and use a very small block as your landing point.
This gyroscope is almost ready. Look at that. Just need a couple more.
I see that.
All right, so I'm going to empty out my build planner. I'm going to beg for that and that. Let's see what we got. Here, I almost fell off the. Grab those bits. No, I'll take everything. Let's weld up that gyroscope. Yep. Two more computers. That stuff. Junk everything in there. Huh. The basic refinery doesn't want to process.
No, you can't put components in automatically on it in an assembler. You have to do it manually.
No, sorry. It's the basic refinery that I was being about.
Yeah.
So, production. Now, this is the trick. If I take... I'm going to reset this because I need to be sure of what I'm requesting because obviously finite components require... So I need definitely two computers and then I need whatever that guy requires. Go over here, I'm going to say, give it back. It's giving me nothing. Great. So I say build. Alright, building. Hopefully it's got enough to be able to. It won't have enough. I can tell you right off the bat it won't have enough. But
No, then the power cells eat up a ton of resource.
well, it's mostly nickel and silicon, isn't it?
It is mostly nickel and silicone, but you get so much less of nickel and silicone than you do of iron that it makes the process of getting them a little bit more space.
This guy's ready. This guy. Oh, what do we got? How many did we get? Not enough, but that's okay. Power cells and steel plates. Okay. So here's a little trick. We need some more iron. Disassemble everything.
Everything.
As a matter of fact, there's more stuff that we can several components could not be. There we go. That's production. All right. So we can actually tell them. This is a good thing, though. The assembler is going to disassemble the radio communication components. Why do we want that? Because those guys contain a crap load of silicon. Look at this thing. They go silicon and iron. That's what we need for the battery, right? We need silicon, iron, and nickel. The motors, they contain nickel. And so does the metal grids. They also contain a lot of nickel. So that's good for us.
Not to mention the cobalt, which a trick is to grind down a couple of those so you can upgrade your tools early on.
I normally don't feel the greatest of needs to upgrade my tools, though. But that's just
once you get into the building the big stuff, though, it is very useful to have an upgraded at least welder.
Right. Now you notice that the recipe here is nothing here is red. If that shows red, it means we're missing something, an element of need some more silicon or something. If that were to be red, right? So see how that one's saying I need more silicon, so it's red. But because nothing was red, it means that it'll complete the job, which is fantastic. This is exactly what we need. All right, so here we go. Now, one thing I wanted to make sure of before we fly out is that I can have a clear shot. So what I'm going to do is remove part of the tower. Oops. Well, part of the tower means that I probably shouldn't have ground down the part that I'm standing on. Perfect. All right, so here we go. This is our ship. What do you think?
I think it looks a lot like a lot of more others that I've seen.
I mean, you can't really say that there are many people that fly a ship like this. All right,
No,
so
not at all.
In third person, we look like this. It's literally a flying chair. The biggest component, obviously, is the battery. We could use small batteries, but that's never a good thing. All right, so,
No, you really have to get them fully charged before you even think of flying with those.
okay, now I can do anything I want. Nothing's going to work right now because we're in a passenger chair. So the way we do it is we go into our grid menu, we go into the remote control, and we press on the button that says control. Here we go. Now, it's locked me into place. The reason behind it is because I'm now in ship view. All right. So if I press the space bar, the thruster should work. Yep, thruster works, which means that we're okay. Now, on my Aspen servers, another thing that we disabled aside from the jetpack is third-person view. So this is what I would see. So in order to be able to fly up, down, well, this is what we're going to have to do, isn't it? Okay. So P lets go of the landing gear, and spacebar goes up, and off we go. So the way I do it is I use the gyroscope to aim me in the direction that I roughly want to go, and I use the Q and E to aim and adjust my attitude.
Kind of like you would do back in the day of the big original drop ships when you were trying to make them go just that little bit further to the to an ice lake or something rather than dropping wherever the heck you wanted.
Now, this is the other thing. remember that the thrust, if you go straight vertical, right, it'll go straight up. That's not a problem. Now I've turned off the dampeners, and the reason I turned off the dampeners is because with the dampeners off, I have more control. Because if I just turn the dampeners off, turn them on, the ship will kind of go where I want it to go. It kind of floats in the general direction. But if I aim it the wrong way, I will lose control. But right now it's kind of floaty. And we said that we were going to go here. Well, you know what? Here's boring, isn't it? Let's go a little further out. So, and with even a partially charged battery that we have, we still have like 32 minutes of flight at full bore. So, this means that this little tiny thing is great for scouting, and we're going to be able to go just about anywhere on this planet. We could probably circle the planet easily with this one thruster.
Not to mention that you could actually fit a survival kit in your inventory, get to where you wanted to go, land, weld the survival kit onto the side of it, and restart wherever you wanted.
Okay, so now this is all well and easy, right? We can fly, no problem, right? Normally, as I said, we played on miasma servers, and this was like the least expensive ship that we could make to go and like get loot and things like that. So, we wouldn't have as a default dampeners. So I'm going to fly it now without dampeners. I'm going to show you exactly, how I land this thing without the dampeners. It is difficult to land, and if I do flip it, I can damage it. But as I said, it's meant to be cheap, easy to repair, or easy just to build. You can actually hold almost all the components in your inventory, just enough to be able to go, yep, I can build another one at a drop of a hat. It's not going to be a straight landing, but 20 meters. Whoa, did you hear the lightning? Oh, got it. So there we go. We've landed. So I press F and it puts me back into the seat mode. It is a little bit crooked, but as long as I've got a straight-ish shot, I should be able to make it. That was another lightning strike I saw over there, I believe. There it goes. Right over that station. It's probably going to get closer to us. Well, I don't want to stick around. So what I'm going to do is going to press the K button, go back to the remote control, tell it to go control. Dampeners are still off. I'm in ready mode. So the first thing I'm doing is pressing Q, spacebar, and P together. And off I go. At 100 meters per second. Now, I've been kind of floating around, but let's go fast. So I'm going to aim it perpendicular to the ground. So we can go 100 meters per second. And with the dampeners off, I just use it to float up and about. Now we got this giant rock in front of us. How are we going to get around it? How do you want me to get around it?
Just kind of drift off to the side of it.
Roger, roger.
Requires a little bit more skill than just jumping over it.
Which side?
Left side. Let's not make it complicated.
Right on. So there you have it. 15 minutes after I started the stream, the video, we have a fully working, fully flyable ship, flying it without dampeners and one thruster only.
Now, just to mention, another practical purpose for this would be you could put a ore detector on it and land on your ores patches as you fly around to do quick locating of ores that you need to continue expanding for relatively cheap, and go ahead and get them marked so you know where they are ahead of time. Or if you're playing on a multiplayer, one player goes out and scouts them for you while the other people start setting up a ship to actually go retrieve them.
Absolutely. This is also the same type of technology that a single thruster uh, remote control missile or AI guided missile would be used. That's actually a thing. You can put a programmable block on a missile with warheads on it, or maybe it's kinetic. It's just a couple of giant armor blocks in the front, and it's got a gyroscope, and it would also have a thruster on it. And the only thing that it would do, it would fly in the direction following a ship. And the way that it would do it, the gyroscope would say turn, and then it would overcompensate to be able to execute the turn as fast as possible, because it would be all mathematically calculated by the programmable block. And yeah, the camera on the front of it would be able to follow whatever ship it's targeted on. It says, that's the ship I need, that's the ship I'm going to follow, and it's going to go grab it. Hey,
yeah, like using Whip's optical guided missile script.
Correct.
Would be a good example of that. Where you literally just keep your ship pointed at whatever you're wanting to shoot, and the missile will chase it.
Yeah. Until it hits it, or it blows up in the meantime for other reasons.
Speaking of kinetics, though, have you seen the video on the piston missile?
The Klangapult?
No. It's a missile. Like, it shoots off, and it like normal thrusters and everything, right? But then it uses the subgrid bypass once it gets close to its target to hit the target at many times more than the top speed.
So it's a missile with a Klangapult on it.
Yes, and it just shreds. Oh my goodness. Even a small ship one just does so much damage.
Well, I believe it. Oh, it's one of these guys that flies away.
Maybe try to land on top of it.
I don't want to land on top of it, because it'll start flying away while...
Yeah, I was wondering if you would catch that.
So, there we go. Unknown signal. He's going to fly. It is going to fly away. I guarantee it. The moment I get out of the seat, it's going to fly away.
Oh, absolutely.
So
the best thing you hope for with that is keep sending it up, and occasionally it'll mess up and turn upside down.
Well, it doesn't have a gyroscope. So, ready?
Go.
Oh, wait. Aha. Okay. All right. The sensor won't catch me just quite yet. So what I need to do is I need to hit that button. If I can hit that button, I can turn it off, regardless of whether it's taken off or not. don't even have to grind it. I don't even have to look at it. I just need to press F on it. And I got a lava drill. Yay!
Nice. You got a rare drop off of it.
Yeah, well, it's pretty good. There we go. And some metal plates and some credits. That's great. So I grind all this stuff down. But you know what? You're going to laugh now. It's got a thruster.
Yep, you could totally use that.
I could just take this gyroscope, that remote control, and this chair, and then just chuck it on there. And then I would add the thruster onto one of the sides so that I would get front and up. So, but with that wonderful victory and that wonderful piece of lava drill, if anybody wants the lava drill, just send me a message in the comments below, and I'll save it for you guys. And when you find me on Steam, I'll be able to, send it across. So anyway, without further ado, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Grevinelveck, for being here for our guest commentator.
Anytime, man.
And with that, if you want, like and subscribe. If you don't, favorite it somewhere. I'll be sending off some more of these videos. Hopefully they'll help you out, or at least help you understand the game a little bit better. And see you next week. Thank you very much, guys. It's been wonderful.